Hi everyone, my name is Noah. I have a girlfriend, but she's a fake. Yeah, decided to make a fuss about my life because was life too boring? I don't know though. It was a cool period in its own way, and I'd like to share it with you. I had a girlfriend, Penelope. She was all hot. I had a really good time with her. I introduced her to my friends, and she became close friends with his girlfriend. Penelope and Zoe have been best friends ever since. Well, then Penelope dumped me. Yes, she said she'd fallen out of love with me. To say I was destroyed is nothing to say because I was head over heels in love with her. All this time, my best friend Bethy was by my side. She supported me in every way she could. Bethy always said that Penelope was no good, but I argued with her. My friend accepted me even after I offended her, when she once again spoke out against Penelope. Why, could I have done otherwise? You and I have been friends for 15 years. We've been together since elementary school, right? Still, I don't expect you to forgive me for saying that she's your sweetheart and I'm just a friend. You remember, don't you? Of course I do. Bethy elbowed me in the stomach. She didn't like me to reminisce about that period because we hardly spoke to each other. I devoted all my time to the girl, and then one day I got an invitation to an engagement party. My friends Zoe and Peter had decided to get engaged, except Peter immediately told me that Zoe had invited Penelope there. So what? Let her go. Zoe's friends with her. Yeah, except she's not going alone. What do you mean? Don't you know? Penelope has a new boyfriend. What? What the hell? Already? We only broke up 6 months ago, but she already has forgotten me? I'm sorry, bro. I just thought you should know. I told Bethy about it. She got up out of her chair and said, Let's go to the store and get dressed up. Where to? To the wedding. I'm going with you. Let's pretend we're together. Let's get her mad. She's always disliked me. It was genius. We brought ourselves beautiful outfits. Satisfied with the anticipation of revenge, I came home and got a savoury slap from my mother. She was angry and disgruntled, screaming that I was a lousy son and that even my friend was getting married soon, while I was still hanging out in the middle of nowhere and not even thinking about her, about how much she wanted grandchildren. My mother beat me with a rag on my face, on my head, and ran away from her. Then she reminded me of Penelope, assuring me that I was the one who left her, not the other way round. Then she said that if I do not immediately bring a girl into the house, she will send me to serve in the army under contract. No, Mum, don't. So what? I'm old, and you're getting old too. When can I expect grandchildren? Then there was a knock at the door. Mum opened it, and Bethy was standing on the threshold. Mum greeted her warmly and then told her it wasn't a good time. I knew my mother was unstoppable, and that she did not throw words to the wind. Mum, it's her. What is she? Bethy is my girlfriend. We're dating in general. Bethy's face was red and her eyes were round, but I, standing behind my mum, crossed my arms and indicated that I was begging her to play along. Of course, Mum was all for it. She had always loved her, ever since she was a little girl, and always wondered why we weren't going out. I took Bethy by the hand and told her we would sit in my room. I immediately got down on my knees in front of my friend and asked her not to yell. Please play along, it's just for a while, or she'll kill me, or worse, send me to the army. Maybe this will do you some good. Are you crazy? Watch your mouth, jackass, or I'll go and tell her everything. I shut up. Bethy handed me the wallet I left in her car. Penelope gave it to me. I suddenly felt sad and Bethy hugged me. She said Penelope didn't deserve someone like me. I hugged her tighter, and then my mum fucking walked in. Oh, I'm sorry, I brought you cookies. Mum, get out! Anyway, we came to the wedding together, as agreed. All looked at us with surprise, and someone said, Well, finally, they're friends all their lives. It could not be otherwise. But I wasn't even paying much attention to the guests. I was looking at Bethy. She looked amazing in that pink floor-length dress. It fell so beautifully to the floor. She smelled so good. For the first time, I saw her more than just a friend. Turns out she was also a girl, and with such a cool figure and beautiful legs. I saw these looks. Everyone was looking at her and admiring her. Suddenly, Penelope came out of the crowd. She was in a green dress, beautiful, but not like I had thought she would be before. She was walking in her arm with her boyfriend. They both said hello to me, and her boyfriend stepped away to get champagne. Hey, you look great. Did you buy yourself a new suit? I see you got yourself a daddy. Yeah, he's old, but he's loaded. I didn't know you went to old people's homes. But he's rich, and you're not. What are you doing with Bethy now? My brother Chad told me about her. Are you sure she likes you? That's when Bethy came up to me. She walked past Penelope and she kissed me on the mouth. Man, she kissed me so hard I almost choked. Penelope's eyes widened. Bethy said hello to her and then said, "Come on, baby, I'm hungry." That was fantastic. "I didn't know you were such a good kisser." "Of course, we've never kissed before." "And for nothing." "What?" "What?" I said. "What are you going to eat?" Next we were having fun and I never once paid attention to the others. Not even to Penelope. Bethy danced so beautifully and enjoyed the evening so much that I didn't want it to end. Just as we were about to leave, some guy came up to Bethy. They were chatting so nicely. She introduced us and it was some guy named Chad. He had taken some kind of psychology class with her. His face was so familiar to me, I just couldn't remember where I'd seen him. They were talking so nicely that it made me uncomfortable. I hugged her and Bethy asked what I was doing. I was confused and said Penelope was watching. Chad's face changed too, and Bethy briefly told me that it was just a game. Chad had just arrived from London at the invitation of his fiancée's relatives, and now he's intended to stay here for a while. That's it. Bethy spent the rest of the evening chatting with him. Then the bride and groom came up to me. "Why so sad? Because of Bethy?" "No, it's okay. Come on, congratulations again." "Thanks, but you seem to be the only one who hasn't noticed all these years." "Notice what?" "Bethy's crazy about you." "No way." "I'm telling you as a girl, even though Penelope and I are friends, it always seemed to me that you and Bethy were born for each other." "Why didn't you say something before?" "I'm sorry, we have to go." They didn't make me feel any better. If Bethy had feelings for me for so long, maybe we shouldn't start now. With that thought, I walked out of there quietly, coming home in a bad mood. An angry mother was sitting in the living room. She asked why I was alone and why I was sad. I gave her a rag and said, "I guess I'm an idiot, Mum." Mum grabbed the rag, but she didn't hit me. She hugged me and told me that nothing happens sooner or later, that everything happens in time. I called Bethy, and she called me an arsehole resentfully. Then I heard Chad's voice next to me. "He gave me a ride home." And the memory stabbed into my head like a knife. Bethy, tell him to go to Aunt Morris." "What? Why? We're already past her house. We're near the mall." "Ask him to turn the car around. Chad, he—" And her phone went out. I took the car and sped off. There was his car parked on the spot, but Chad wasn't there. I remembered who he was. This jerk had taken psychology course with Bethy about 5 years ago, only he had lost his mind and been sent to involuntary treatment. Only, how did he know we'd be at the wedding? And I remember Penelope calling him brother. So he's her brother. That's why she didn't talk about him so much. I ran out to the mall and showed pictures of Bethy to passers-by, but no one saw her. Then I saw them on the roof of the building, and I ran up there. My heart was beating like crazy. I busted through the door, and the two of them were standing there. Chad was holding Bethy's hand, and she was crying and shaking. Chad smiled at me. "What do you want from her?" "The same thing you do. I want her with me. Bethy, do you remember our class? I asked you out after your SATs, and you said you couldn't because you were in love with someone else. So he's the reason you blew me off? I was worried. I took a bunch of pills and they put me in an asylum. All because of you, you bastard. Leave her alone. Let her go and we'll talk. And imagine, even in this situation when she's a hair away from falling down, she still showed me up, said she loved you. All my sister Penelope's efforts were in vain. I thought Bethy would give up on you, but no." "What? Did you two set this whole thing up together?" "And you thought my sister might like you? She has high standards." I stepped closer and he took a step back, holding Bethy. Then I said if he let her go, I'd go, but Chad demanded another. "Jump yourself," he told me. Bethy screamed for me not to do it, but I couldn't let her die. I stood on the edge of the roof and said, "Bethy, I love you too." Chad wanted to kick me in the back, but then my mum showed up. She just hit him with the frying pan that she'd been popping popcorn on for an hour, and Chad passed out. Thank God everything ended well. Chad went back to hospital, Penelope got dumped, and Bethy and I got a fresh start. Tell me guys, did you like my story? Write your opinion about it in the comments below the video. Don't forget to like it, share the video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel.